This convenience. This is so sick. This is why people don't want to go into politics, because it's just gross. It's scummy. Other headlines in the news today. This is a good one. Let them eat bugs. Kofi Marie Antoinette Annan. This is a story out of investors.com, right up my alley, being a former TV meteorologist back in the day. United Nations Secretary General Kofi Annan recently said if it were up to him, he would reduce the major threat to the climate posed by global livestock. So in other words, it's all these PETA people for the ethical treatment of animals, or people for the eating of tasty animals, as I like to say. That's what I am. I'm a PETA. I'm a person for the eating of tasty animals. But he says that a major threat to our climate is livestock, the livestock industry, the eating of meat. So what he's saying is we need to raise insects as an animal protein source. This is where we are today, folks. All right, I got a couple pieces of sound for you. Ready for this? Here we go. Let's begin with a clip that Savage was on my morning program in San Francisco today. I played this clip for him live on the air, and as he's listening to this for the first time, it's very early in the morning. He listens to this for the first time, and you could hear him in the background say, "Oh, my God." All right, so this is Education Secretary Arnie Duncan.
The one idea I threw out that I wanted to sort of road test it with the kids too, I thought, is the idea of public boarding schools. And that's a little bit of a different idea or a controversial idea. But the question is, do we have some children where there's not a mom, there's not a dad, there's not a grandma, there's just nobody home? And there are certain kids we should have 24/7 to really create a safe environment and give them a chance. Give them a chance to be successful.
Give them a chance to be successful. It was an awkward applause. You could tell by looking at the video, the people, they're excited about this because they've never heard anybody say this before, because this is what they've always dreamed of. Now you can indoctrinate them, re-educate them, turn them into full-time liberal drones 24/7. So the clapping is like, yeah, I like, whoa. Can I clap? Should I clap? It was weird. That was one of the weirdest statements. 855-400-7282. This was at the National Summit on Youth Violence Prevention. So let's round them up and house them, teach them 24/7. You're going to be teaching them math? You're going to be teaching them science? No, you're going to be teaching them liberal doctrine. And maybe Pat on WFNC in North Carolina has a little clue as to what this may be also about. Pat, thanks for joining us. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you for taking my call. My thought on this is, besides it, replacing the foster care system, is this enables a lot more unaccompanied minors to come across the border and easy housing.
Sure. So absolutely. You're going to have the housing. You'll have an ability to now indoctrinate them so they never grab hold of the American ethos. You're going to have them lock, stock, and barrel as a voting bloc and as a group of drones that are there at your beck and command. Absolutely, Pat.
And, this way they don't even have to worry about where the funding comes from. It's part of the educational system. And who could argue with educating these young people? So it just opens the borders more and more, gets more of these young people, these future Democrats over, and then they can also take our children that are getting conservative views at home and add them to the mix.
Well, that would be the ultimate goal. And Pat, at the same time, what does this do to the breakup of the American family? Because this has always been a goal of the Communist Party in the United States of America, decimate the American family. And they're doing a pretty damn good job of it, aren't they?
They sure are. And for people that tend to be the most sensitive to the poor people, I've worked inner city, and I've done talks at schools educating them about different medical issues. I'm a physician. And I will tell you that the parents had standing room only. The parents want to be educated about what's healthy for their children. It's a misnomer that the poor families can't or won't take good care of their children. They're just as concerned as all of us are.
Appreciate your call. Thank you, Pat, from North Carolina. Richard is in Virginia. Richard, I just told you about the United Nations, their former chief, Kofi Annan, saying we don't need to eat meat. We need to start eating insects. Go ahead, please.
Well, I think it's been a pretty recent development that everybody started eating so much processed foods and so much livestock and that sort of thing. So really, is it really that far out? Just be sort of getting back to your roots, honestly, almost.
Well, I don't know if you're getting back. I think the last time I looked in my mouth, I have teeth that were made for eating meat. I'm just telling you, meat is the most efficient form of protein there is.
All right, sounds like you've got your stance on it. I just think that it's not that far out.
Well, listen, if you want to eat insects, that's your business. On this one, I think Moses was right. Okay, he was right on a lot of things regarding diet, in my opinion. But hey, listen, Richard, at the same time, maybe some of you will say, you've been in California too long, dude. When I eat meat, I want really good meat. I look for meat that's void of additives, hormones, etc. You got to pay a little bit more for that, but I do believe it's better for you. I've listened to my doctor over the years. I'm not eating as much red meat as I would like. Cholesterol has gone down as a result. Okay, I get that. Everything in moderation. If you want to eat grasshoppers, if you want to eat ants, if you want to eat worms, that's your business. But count me out. Count me in for Michael Savage's new book, Countdown to Mecca. Folks, this is the third book in the trilogy. And it has to do, if I could just encapsulate this, think of a plane bound for Jordan, crashing into the Caspian Sea, no survivors, save a Russian mercenary who hijacked the flight, and a cask containing an agent of unprecedented destructive potential missing from the wreckage. This is how Countdown to Mecca starts, and it continues. It's big time, folks, and it's in stores now. Countdown to Mecca by Michael Savage. Brian Sussman filling in on this, The Savage Nation.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
My Savage Nation is sponsored by SwissAmerica.com. It's the only company I trust to protect my wealth.
Countdown to Mecca, available in stores now. Brian Sussman filling in for the author of the book, Countdown to Mecca. Michael Savage on this, The Savage Nation. Mike's back tomorrow. Now, we can easily give you a summary of some of the things we've been talking about, some of the bigger issues, by taking 3 calls. And we have ample time to do this if everyone's quick. First, let's go to Pat in Hartford, WDRC. Pat, you heard Obama talk about, the rich people in this country, they're life's lottery winners. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, Mrs. Obama and Mr. Obama are the luckiest life's lottery winners of anybody. I mean, look at the trips they go on. Look at the lifetime security they get. Mm-hmm. Look at the amount of money they get. Mm-hmm. Who are they to point fingers at anyone else?
Oh, yeah, and Pat, Obama made the lion's share of his money to date on books that some would arguably say he didn't even write. Okay, he had ghostwriters for these things. You're right. He's the luckiest guy on the planet in terms of money, and they're living large and they're in charge. Pat, thanks for your call. Phil is in Florida, WFTL. Kofi Annan, the former chief of the UN, saying, well, because of global warming, we got to stop eating meat. He's encouraging people to eat bugs. Phil, go ahead.
Well, I think this is a great point. I know a lot of people who are brainwashed by the whole liberal agenda and fanatical believers of the global warming. And my favorite response is, so why are you still eating meat? Why haven't you stopped eating meat, which is the single biggest thing you could do as an individual if you're that concerned about it? You could do it today.
Right. You could stop eating meat right now. And then you could stop ever flying in an airplane ever again. And after that, why don't you go out and spend money you don't have to buy an electric car? Oh, I'm sorry. In most parts of the country, electric cars are fueled by fossil fuels. That doesn't really count. Thanks for your call there. I want to remind you of the book Countdown to Mecca. It is available in the stores. And the plot, this is the third book in the trilogy. Now think about this. You have a potential attack on Mecca. And this has got to be stopped, otherwise the world is going to blow up. The liberals who are criticizing this book will say, oh, my God, Savage wants to blow up Mecca. No. Read the book. He doesn't want Mecca to blow up. That'll start a world war, especially in this day and age when all these countries, Pakistan's got the nuke, Saudi Arabia could buy a nuke right on down the line, Iran wants a nuke, right? Well, the one guy who might be able to stop this attack is Jack Hatfield. He's this freelance reporter. You know him from Michael's writings in the past. And he's never shied away from controversy after making a politically incorrect statement about Islamic extremists, like a few talk show hosts have done over the years. He's been discredited now as a journalist and left to pick up the pieces of his career, and he's able to prove himself in this book. I can't tell you anymore, otherwise I'm going to give away the plot. And I don't want to do that, especially when it's a great read. Brisk read, page-turner. So that is Savage's Countdown to Mecca. And it's available in the bookstores now. I highly encourage, with all of these great authors who are putting together books on topics that are so controversial in the eyes of the mainstream, to buy these in the stores, because we need to put the stores on notice that people like these books. They really do like them. And we don't like it when the stores either don't order the book, even though it may be a bestseller, or order the book and allow it to be buried in the back of the bookstore. Let's make sure that does not happen with this particular book. We're coming up on the final half hour of the program, and I'm really looking forward to diving into all of the big issues of the day. Brian Sussman, filling in for Michael Savage. The phone number is 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. This is the Savage Nation.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282.
Brian Sussman filling in for Michael Savage, the Savage Nation. Countdown to Mecca, available in stores now. It's Michael's book, the third in the trilogy, the novel. Under the threat of a third world war, nothing matters except the mission, and it is a page-turner. Countdown to Mecca. The phone number is 855-400-7282, 855-400-7282. I want to play a clip. Mike's producers have been able to add to today's audio. This guy, he's a Democrat congressman from Georgia, Hank Johnson. So you're going to hear him say something about the poor. Right now it's all about rich versus poor, inequality, pay inequality, job inequality, etc. So here he is saying, the situation in Baltimore, no, that had nothing to do with the police. It had to do with the poor. In fact, we could just say it had to do with the po. People are so po, they can't afford the two letters at the end of the word. They're po, not poor, po. Listen to him here in clip 4, please.
And I'll tell you, the free marketers have been winning of late. And it's to the detriment of this country. And if we're not careful, the have-nots in this country will rise up like the people in Baltimore. You can say that it's in response to police. It's a reaction to police excessive use of force. But actually, what happened in Baltimore stems from deeper economic issues.
Deeper economic issues. Well, I'm glad to hear it's not the police. Deeper economic issues. Then it has to be the Democrats and their liberal policies. They've run cities like Detroit for decades. You'd think it would be Valhalla, heaven on earth, utopian society. What happened? Mr. Hank Johnson, Congressman Georgia. This is a guy who, let's just say he's not the brightest light bulb in the shop, perhaps. Not the smartest tool in the shed. He is one oar out of the water. What is the taco line? He's one fry short of a Happy Meal. One tortilla shy of a taco. This guy, he's not the brightest. Remember what he said about Guam? The guys running the show reminded me. Guys, let's remind our listeners
that the whole island will become